Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Board, and coming up, my Raiders mock draft 2.0. I wanted to be able to do this after the college football season ended, and to be very clear, the mock that you were going to see, I ran on PFF Simulator. Also, the way that I like to do my mock draft is, in my mind, the Raiders have already built their trenches in free agency. In my personal opinion, you can't draft a quarterback number 1 overall unless your offensive line is already solidified. So in my mind, the O-line has already been built. But if you're a Raider fan out there, you want more draft content, I'm going to try to get you guys more and more draft content out there. I'm going to try to get you more mock drafts. So hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. The mock that you're about to see is me. I'm going to walk through why I decided to pick the players that I did, but I'm really going to explain it more from a Raider standpoint because we got a lot of needs. We got a lot of holes. I'm going to tell you how that person's going to fit with the players that we already have. So, with the number 1 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select, shocker, Fernando Mendoza, quarterback, Indiana. I am going to do mock drafts with Mendoza. Why? Because I want the Raiders to draft frickin' Mendoza. This guy's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's a national champion. I think he has everything that you're looking for from a franchise quarterback in terms of gotta have it up here. He was phenomenal against Alabama. Alabama blitzed him a season-high 12 times. 8 of 8, 161 yards, 3 touchdowns. Look at what he did against Oregon. I mean, you're talking about a dude that had more passing touchdowns than incompletions before the Natty up against Miami at Hard Rock Stadium, essentially a road game. The stats in the Natty weren't the best, but that 4th down and 5 play, it's determination, it's will, it's the definition of just win, baby. And let's face the facts here. We need a quarterback. Geno Smith will not be on this team next season. He's either going to demand to be out or the Raiders are just going to outright cut him. Kenny Pickett is a free agent. Aiden O'Connell is the only quarterback on this roster. So if you're the Las Vegas Raiders, not only do you need a quarterback as a starter, you're going to need some quarterback depth as well. So maybe, just maybe, wink, wink, you might see another quarterback drafted here in my mock draft. So the Silver and Black, John Spytek, Tom Brady have decided to go with Mendoza. But you guys already know, I'm a man that loves a good deal. I'm also a man that wants to be able to provide content. And I don't have a problem making content, even if I don't 100% agree with it, because I like making Raiders videos, and I want people to watch the Raiders Report to always be like, oh, like that's fun and interesting. And I feel like if I do a mock draft every single time, and it's always Mendoza number 1, it's kind of boring. So here's my deal to you. If this mock draft gets 2,000 likes, the next mock that I decide to do, my 3.0, I will trade the number 1 overall pick. If that's interesting to you, hit that like button. If you don't want me to ever trade the number 1 overall pick, then just type Mendoza down below. Let's go to the second round here. Pick 36 of my mock draft. I'm going to go with Akheem Mesidor. Shout out to Darian Schofield. And I want to be able to address my edges because when I think about how much money the Raiders have in salary cap, I want to spend a lot of that money in the trenches on the offensive line. I would also like to be able to go out and add another receiver potentially, which means I don't know how much money we're going to be able to add to replace a guy like Malcolm Kuntz, and I want to be able to go out and find an edge. Mesidor, the Miami Hurricanes, I would love to be able to get Ruben Bain. Obviously, that's not going to happen. He's going to be a top 5 pick. So I want to go out and get a dude who's got 10 sacks, 15 tackles for loss. He was incredible, and he showed up, and that entire Hurricane defense made life really difficult on Mendoza. And when you look at what the Raiders have right now from a depth chart standpoint, it's not all that good, right? You got a lot of free agents. You got some exclusive rights free agents. Malcolm Kuntz is going to be gone. Charles Snowden's going to be gone. Hopefully the Silver and Black convert Tyree Wilson to a 3-technique defensive tackle. We need some help. Crosby needs some help being able to get after the quarterback. And I believe Mesidor is going to be a player that's going to help you pin your ears back, get north and south, and really replace Malcolm Kuntz. Let's go to third round here, pick 67. I'm going to go with cornerback D'Angelo Pawns. And I remember the last mock that I did, I was kind of kicking myself in the ass that I let the cornerback spot go as far as it did. I would like for Las Vegas to be able to bring back Eric Stokes. He's my number 1 free agent that I would like this team to be able to re-sign. But for me, D'Angelo Pawns, this is what's going to be interesting. He's 5'9", he's 170. I think he plays a lot bigger than his actual size, and he showed up big and clutch in the college football playoffs. I would wonder, though, how the Raiders would use him because we need a nickel. We also need an outside corner. But Pons' physicality, mental toughness, that mentality, again, it's very similar to Mendoza. I don't care how big I am, you're not going to beat me. And if you were able to put him in the nickel, I know that he didn't really play nickel at the Big Ten and at Indiana, but because we have certain needs, I would be interested to see if he would be able to take over the Darnay Holmes role, which I think anybody on the planet could take over the Darnay Holmes role. But being able to find that corner, like in my mind, if we re-signed Eric Stokes, had D'Angelo Pons, pair that with a Darian Porter, that's a really good young, sneaky cornerback room, in my personal opinion. Let's go to the fourth round here. Reminder, we have 3 picks in the fourth round. I'm going to go at pick 102, wide receiver from Clemson, Antonio Williams. And Williams is a speedster, but he also offers you a bunch of different things. And coming off a bad year at Clemson, I don't think Williams necessarily had a bad year. But look at his tape from last season. That's a guy that had double-digit touchdowns, was clearly more involved in the offense, and overall, Clemson was a better team last season than they were this year. But if you're the Raiders, I would still like for this organization to go out and get a guy like a Rashid Shaheed, go out and get a guy like Alec Pearson free agency, but you still need to be able to add some depth here to this roster. Tyler Lockett, gonzo. Alec Bachman, gonzo. The fact that it's Trey Tucker, Jack Besh, you add Antonio Williams in there as your wide receiver 3, but then also if you have that other wide receiver in free agency, that gives you more depth. I hope that Dante Thornton Jr. can figure it out. I would love for Thornton to be able to show me a little bit more growth. I just don't know if we can rely on Dante being a contributor right away because he's just not physically there. I just don't think the route tree's there yet, and I think Raider fans deep down do feel that. So if you go out and get an Alec Pierce, pair that with a Trey Tucker, pair that with a Jack Besh, Antonio Williams being your 4th wide receiver, a rookie, that's a good young receiver core to have, and it lets Dante Thornton Jr. develop a little bit. Though, Shedrick Jackson, if Dante ain't careful, Shedrick Jackson could absolutely pass him on the depth chart this past season. Let's go to another 4th round pick here at 117. I'm going to go Tim Keenan III, defensive tackle from Alabama. We need some big boys on the interior, and Keenan is a big boy at 6'2", 320 pounds, 13 tackles. He's a space eater. That's what I want from my defensive tackle at this point in the 4th round. I need a space eater. Yes, we drafted Tonka Hemingway. Yes, we drafted J.J. Pegues last season, but we are also going to be without certain players. I'm hopeful that we can bring back a Thomas Booker. I would like for us to be able to do that because you traded away Ja'Cory and Bennett, but Adam Butler, he's in his lower 30s. John Alalu's an okay player. I just am trying to find ways to add extra interior depth because one of the things that I am concerned about is when you move on from Christian Wilkins, I don't know if we're going to be able to replace the defensive tackle spot because really it's like John Franklin Myers on the open market, and then there's not a lot of other really talented players, I would say, that play interior defensive line. So if you can't go out and get a big-name guy, you might have to be able to go out and get a bunch of bodies that you can throw in there on the interior. And if I want to dominate in the trenches, I want to make sure I got fresh legs. So I'm going to go with Tim Keenan III, a big boy who's going to eat up a lot of space, and then that helps you with your 2nd-round pick, Mesidor, helps you with Max Crosby, and I think it just helps out some of these other players stay fresh. Got to have the extra depth there on the interior. Coming up, my final 5 picks of my Raiders 2.0 mock draft. I'll be real. I actually like this mock more than the mock that I first did on this show, and I'm always an honest guy. Like, I'll do a mock, and there's sometimes I'll do a mock, and I'm like, I don't love it. But I'm still going to show you. I'm still going to talk to you about it. I'm still going to walk you through because I think it's important to see good mocks, bad mocks, all the mocks. If you're trying to rock out with your mock out, I'm going to be your guy. And also, if you're trying to rock out with PrizePicks, safe and secure. It's available in all 50 states. And with the big game right around the corner, now might be your last chance to get it going. Because with the season being this close to the end, PrizePicks, you can get started here by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. I'll be honest, my wife never really wanted to watch football. Then we started playing PrizePicks, and now she's talking to me about who she's putting in her lineup. I think it's exciting because that means I get to watch some more football, and she gets to root on certain players. But PrizePicks is simple to play. If my wife can do it, if my dad can do it, I promise you, you can do it. So easy, maybe a caveman could do it. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get your picks right, you can cash in. Get in on the action. It's available, again, in all 50 states. Also, PrizePicks now offers stacks, meaning that you can pick the same player up to 3 times in your lineup. Join millions of users. Join me. Join the Chat Sports team. Download the PrizePicks app today. Make sure that you use code CLNS to be able to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5. That's code CLNS. You're able to get $50 in lineups after you get your first $5 lineup in there. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Let's keep it moving here at round 4, pick 134. I'm going to go with Jalen Stroman here, safety defensive back for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And I didn't love the players that were kind of in this realm. I'm not going to lie. Like, there's parts of me where I decided to not do trades in this mock, and that's kind of how I do it from time to time. I will do mock drafts with trades. But Jalen Stroman to me is a good depth piece, and I would look at him as kind of like your, I don't know, like a Lonnie Johnson Jr. replacement, somebody that's not going to be overly impressive in the secondary, but a good special teams player year one. And for the Raiders, you have, again, so many holes that you need to fill. Offense, defense, special teams. You need to be able to have some players that you have confidence in that can help you on special teams. You got Jeremy Chin. You got Isaiah Paul-Amal. We still need a true free safety. And I think you might have to look at trying to get a true free safety in free agency. But Terrell Edmonds, gone. McCollum, gone. Lonnie Johnson Jr., gone. So when I look at a dude like Jalen Stroman, I'm sitting here going, I need to be able to replace the Edmonds. I need to be able to replace the Lonnie Johnson Jr. So I want to find a guy that's got some playing time. He's not the better safety. The other safety from Notre Dame is definitely the better one. I can't think of his name right now. But add some special teams depth, add some safety depth, Jalen Stroman in the 4th round. Let's go now to the 5th round here at pick 174, and it's going to be Kyle Lewis, linebacker from Pittsburgh. And I want my linebackers to be able to do a multitude of different things, and that's kind of what this guy does. 6'1", 220 pounds, 79 tackles, 3 sacks. I think he did a much better job at covering than what he might get credit for, but you got to talk about the Raiders linebacker situation. Devin White's a free agent. Jamal Adams is a free agent. Landon Roberts is a free agent, right? John Rattington, special teamer, free agent. You got Tommy Eichenberg. You got Cody Lindenberg. Jamin Davis is also on your roster. But to me, we need linebacker depth. And if you watch my Raiders top free agent videos, you're going to see there's a certain linebacker that I want a lot. I would love to be able to get a Devin Lloyd. So in my mind, if I can spend some money on a Devin Lloyd, then I'll go a little bit cheaper on some of these other linebackers, like taking Kyle Lewis here in the 5th round out of Pitt. Just like Tommy Eichenberg, 5th round pick. Cody Lindenberg, 7th round pick. That's where I'm going to decide to go here. Let's go to the 6th round at pick 180. I'm going to go with another Indiana pick here. I'm going to go with Roman Hemby, running back. Hear me out. You're going to have to get another running back. That way Ashton Genty doesn't get ran into the ground. And I would look at Roman Hemby as kind of like our Zamir White replacement. And that physicality, I think, matches the type of offense that this team's going to run. If you're going to draft Mendoza, it's got to be a run-first offense. And Genty's going to be your main back. If, let's say, our backs get, 25 carries in a game, I want Genty to have 20 to 19, and I want Hemby to be somewhere around the 5 to 6 mark. But we got to be able to replace Mostert. We got to be able to replace Zamir White. Hell, I don't even know if I want to see Dylan Laube return. Chris Collier is basically a special teams player at the absolute best. But Roman Hemby brings that energy, brings that physicality. And the other really important thing is if you're going to be the back that comes in for Genty, got to have ball security. I think also having that connection, having that relationship with Fernando Mendoza is important. So at this point in the draft, I decided to go with a running back to be that thunder to Ashton Genty's thunder and lightning. Before I get into the final picks here in my mock, don't miss our Raiders Report meetup. Fairway Zone Sports Bar and Lounge in San Jose, California. Friday, February 6th from 7 to 10 p.m. If you want to call and leave a reservation, make sure you do that. If y'all show up, I'm down to stay a little bit later. Let's pack the joint. Let's have a hell of a time. It's an indoor and outdoor facility. It's going to be a party. So make sure you bring your drinking pants. Let's go to pick 183 here in the 6th round. I'm going to go with Nate. Oh, man. Boerkircher, hopefully I pronounced that one right, and he's a physical tight end out of Texas A&M. One of the things that I've talked about on this show is the NFL is a little bit of a copycat league. I think when you look at how much success the Los Angeles Rams have had in their 3 tight end sets, the Raiders have interviewed multiple offensive coaches, Nate Scheelhaase and Mike LaFleur. They're obviously interested in what the Rams are doing, and they should, right? Sean McVay is one of the best in the building. But you have Brock Bowers. You have Michael Mayer. Can you add that third tight end that helps you run the football a little bit more? And with all due respect, Nate, I don't need you to catch many footballs. I need you to be a red zone option. I need you to be a blocker, and that's what he is. He is predominantly a blocker. So if we decide to do a lot of these 3 tight end sets, you put your one receiver out there wide. Hell, I might even be able to make an argument. Maybe you're going to put Brock Bowers out there wide with your 3 tight end set. I'm just looking for an extra blocker. You could think as Nate here as our Ian Thomas replacement. And then in the 7th round, I'm going to go with Illinois quarterback Luke Altmyer. Luke Altmyer from the Big Ten, 6'2", 205 pounds. The last draft that I did, I went with Jalen Green. I kind of like Jalen Green more from Arkansas, more than I like Altmyer, but I didn't want to do the same pick in back-to-back mocks. So the reason why we're going to go this route here is because you need another quarterback. And if you go out and you draft Mendoza, you have Aiden O'Connell, and then you add Altmyer, that's 3 quarterbacks that can kind of compete a little bit. Obviously, Altmyer is going to be the one that learns for many, many years. You have Mendoza and AOC, they're all learning together. But Altmyer is known as being a competitor. He's known as being a fiery guy. So if you had a player like that with Aiden O'Connell and Fernando Mendoza, that's a really competitive quarterback room. And I think Altmyer and AOC help Fernando Mendoza be the best version of himself. So let me know down below, y'all. What do you think about my Raiders offense, or what do you think of my Raiders NFL mock draft here? I saw offensive line down below. Again, the reason why I did not go with an offensive lineman is because in my mind, we invested in the O-line in free agency. And with Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant, I would like to be able to bring back a guy like Jordan Meredith. When I do these mocks, I do them with how I would also build in free agency. But hey, you can let me know. A, B, C, D, or F. Grade my mock draft down below.